Hello and welcome along to Web Design Basics with your host Robert Smith. Now, web design or web development basically revolves around using something called HTML and other things too, but you really need to have a little bit of an understanding of how HTML works. So let's have a look at this. Command N like this. I'm going to start here I am in Dreamweaver. I'm going to start a new HTML document like this with no layout. Now, if you're new to coding or you're a designer, you probably think, oh, look at that code, it looks really complicated. Let me tell you, it's not. That's why we love Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver does things like this. It writes all this code that you would have to write by hand. It does all the icky bits for you, which is great. Okay, now what this video about is understanding things called tags. Now, in HTML, or coding if you like, there's a certain structure you must understand. Now, this is really basic. Now, if you want to tell a page, a web page, what the content should be, you do it by putting it inside a tag. So let's do that. But before I do that, let's go to Dreamweaver preferences like this, and under fonts, I don't like this being so small, the code. When it's small, it looks very scary, so I'm going to make it about 16 point, like that. Under fonts and OK, and that's better. Now it doesn't look so scary. Okay, now in a HTML page, more of this later, everything happens. Let's forget about all of this. That's all stuff we'll look at later. What we're interested in is this part here, inside something called the body tag. Now let's have a look at what a tag is. A tag starts like this, has these two little brackety things, and then it ends like this. So 95% of the things you put on an HTML page will start off like this with a tag, and we'll finish with the same tag with a slash in it like that. So let's do it. Let's get stuck in. Now, if you're new to Dreamweaver, what I've done, I've set it up in what's called split mode. In other words, I can see the code and I can actually see the page over here. But as we have nothing at the moment, I can see nothing on the page. All of this code here doesn't go on the page. It's all to do with organization and all sorts of things, but let's not worry about that. What you see on this page over here goes between these two tags, this body tag. So basically that's your whole page there, believe it or not. So let's get stuck in. I'm just going to move it up a little bit like that. I'm going to put my cursor there. I'm going to go shift, comma, like that. Now, Dreamweaver is your best friend. Seeing as though you've done that, it knows you want to start a tag. So what it's given us here is a list of all the tags there are, and you're probably thinking, there's a lot of tags. The good news is you only use about 10 of these. That's all you use. I can't remember using 3/4 of these. Now, to find the tag you want, we're going to start off with something called an H tag. Now, a H stands for headline, and that makes a lot of sense. So if I press the letter H like this, you'll notice this goes down to a series of H tags. Now, H1 is the biggest. So I'm going to click on, just double click on that, and you'll notice it's put H1 in for me. Now, if I shift full stop like that, now I've closed my opening tag. So there's my opening tag. I'm going to put some content in here. Once upon a time, there were 3 little bears. Like that. Let's say that's going to be a headline for my website. Now I need to tell it at this stage here that that's the end of that line, and to do that, or the end of that H1 tag, to do that I simply do the same thing again. I hold the shift key down and press comma like that, but this time I don't want I just want to close off the tag, so I'm just going to press the slash key, and Dreamweaver is smart enough to know that you want to do that, so it closes the tag for you, and there's a well closed tag. Again, opening tag, closing tag. You see they've got the same name. The only difference is this slash here to tell you that that's the closing tag. Now, we can't see anything over here on our page, so to do that we just have to click on refresh like that, and there it is. There's our headline. So let's go over that again. There's our opening tag and there's our closing tag, and you'll notice if I select it here, it selects it over here on the page too. So there's a number of ways of selecting your code. You can select it over here on the page and it'll show you where it is in the code over here. Okay, let's add another one. That was a lot of fun. Let's do the same thing. I'm going to shift comma like that. Again, Dreamweaver's asked us, which tag do you want? I'm going to go for the H's again. This time I'm going to go for H3. This is a hierarchy of tags, H1 being the biggest and H6 being the smallest. I'm going to go somewhere in between about H3, so I'll just double click on that, and you'll notice it nearly completes our tag. If I shift full stop like that, it'll close that tag and it's ready for some content. Let's put some content in. Now look how many there are. Okay, now I want to close that tag now because that's all I want to say. So I'm going to shift comma like that. And again, to close it, I simply just press the slash like that. And again, it hasn't shown it until I click on the refresh button over here like that. How good's that? Now, these H tags you use all the time, which I'm only going to do a couple of tags in this video, but as I said, there's lots and lots. Okay, another very useful tag is something called the P tag or the paragraph tag. Now I'm going to do the works the same way. I'll shift key down, open up my angle bracket like that, and this time I'm going to press the letter P to find the P tag, and there it is. It goes straight to the P tag, and then I'm just going to double click on that. That's all the P tag is. Now to close that, I need to shift full stop like that. Now I need some content. Okay, now what I've done is I've opened up Chrome here like this, and on Chrome I've gone to a site called Lipsum.com. If you're new to this sort of thing, it's a great site to get some dummy text, in other words for layouts, etc. So I'm simply going to go in here and copy that, this part here, Apple C on here on the Mac to copy it. And then I'm going to Command Tab back to Dreamweaver like that, and I'm going to paste that in, Apple V to paste it in like this. Now as you can see, that's a lot of text, but we still only need an opening tag and we need a closing tag. To do that, I'll go right to the end of the text and I'll shift comma and press the slash, and it knows the P was the last tag, so it closes it for us automatically. If I click on refresh, there's all my type. How good's that? Now they're the two probably most used tags in all of HTML, your H tags and your paragraph tag. And they're what's called block elements. Now that's a bit fancy, isn't it? But what that simply means is every time you put one of these tags, it starts a new line over here, as you can see. See, I've got once upon a time there were 3 little bears, and then a new tag starts, a new line starts. And that's because these tags are again called block elements, something we'll discuss ad nauseum later on. So don't stress if you don't understand that concept. Okay, one more very useful tag we use all the time is a thing called lists. That's hard to say really, but if I return there, I'm going to start something called an unordered list. In other words, it doesn't have to be in any specific order. You're probably thinking, what's the list got to do with anything? Well, I don't want to explain that yet. I just want to simply show you how to make one. Okay, and we'll use them ad nauseum later on. Okay, same thing again. I'm going to shift comma like that. Then I'm going to press the letter U like that to go to unordered lists. That's what UL stands for. Double click on that and then shift full stop. Now this is like a container, just like the body is containing everything else. This UL, now this is a bit complicated, but just play along. I'm just going to press return like that, and I'm going to close that without putting any content in it, just by going shift comma and pressing the slash. And now I can put a list inside here. Now we do that for a number of reasons, mainly as once we start to format the text, etc. But just get used to it. So really that's like a containing tag, and that again a bit complicated, but I'm going to press return to be inside that, just like I was inside the body tag at the start. I'm now inside this thing called an unordered list, and I just want to put some list items, some things inside there. It's the same thing again. I'm going to shift comma, and I'm going to go to LI. I want a list item. Now you get used to this after a while, you get to what the names are, an LI like that, and I'll press return and shift full stop like that. Now I want to put an item of something, some sort of bear. Here in Australia we have something called a koala bear. Now I need to finish that. That's the end of that. So if I again hold the shift key down, shift comma and slash, That's the end of that tag. Let's add another one. Shift comma, and I want the L. Press L like that. Double click on that. Shift full stop. What's another sort of bear? How about a brown bear? Like that. And I want to finish that. So again, Shift comma, LI, and slash like that. Actually, that's not correct. What I will do is I'll just get rid of that. I didn't have to go LI the second time. I'll just do that again. Now you make this mistake all the time. So shift comma like that, and then slash, and that will close off your tag for you. Now here's a little trick I like to use. Once I've got a couple of list items like that, let's have a look. Let's refresh and see what that looks like. It looks like a list with some bullet points, and again we'll get rid of all of those later. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy those. Simply select them like that and copy them. Command C and Apple V to paste. And I might change the name of this koala bear. So if you've got a long list, it's a good idea just to cut and paste and change the content. And it's a black bear like that, and a Fozzie bear. I don't know any other sorts of bears. Fozzie bear like that, very nice. And if I click on refresh over here, you'll see now on the page I've got that. Now we can look at that in our design view like this, which will show us no coding, just the results of our coding. We can look at it in split view, or we can simply look at it in full-on code view. Okay, mostly we look at it in split view. Now what to learn from this video. When you're making a tag like this, you always have an opening tag and a closing tag, or 95% of the time we have that. There are a few tags that don't need to be closed. Like this, here's another opening tag, here's a closing tag like that. Here's another one, P like this, and there's the closing tag. So the minute we close the tag, we can see it over here on our page. And here we have a list, and this is called an unordered list. Now that doesn't mean much to anybody at this stage, but what it does, it just simply gives us a structure for putting lots of maybe for navigation and all sorts of things, and images, but more of that later. So thanks for watching, and we'll continue in the next video.